You're lying in bed at 3 in the morning again, aren't you? The room is dark, but your mind is blazing with memories. That conversation from 5 years ago playing on repeat. The mistake you made that changed everything. The person who left. The opportunity you missed. Your heart races as if these things are happening right now, as if that pain is fresh, as if you're still that person in that moment. You can feel your jaw clenching, your shoulders tightening, your breath becoming shallow, and that familiar ache spreads through your chest. The weight of carrying a past that won't let you go. Or is it that you won't let it go? I see you there, caught in that prison of memory. I see you reliving those moments, analyzing them, trying to rewrite them, trying to understand why they happened the way they did. And I'm here to tell you something that might feel impossible to believe right now. Your past is none of your business anymore. In my book, Your Erroneous Zones, I wrote about how we create our own mental prisons. For decades, I've studied the intricate ways we trap ourselves in psychological patterns that steal our present and sabotage our future. I've witnessed thousands of people just like you, brilliant souls who are living their lives looking in the rearview mirror, crashing into opportunity after opportunity because they can't see what's right in front of them. They're so busy being who they were that they can't become who they're meant to be. What I'm about to share with you isn't just another philosophy about letting go. It's a fundamental truth about how your mind works, why you're addicted to your past, and how that addiction is slowly poisoning every moment of your life. But more importantly, I'm going to show you how to break free. Think about this for a moment. The past you're obsessing over, it doesn't exist. It's not real anymore. It's a collection of electrical impulses in your brain, a story you tell yourself, a ghost you've given permission to haunt your present while you're lying there at 3 in the morning, reliving that betrayal, that failure, that loss. The actual moment is gone. It evaporated the second it ended. What you're holding on to isn't the past. It's your interpretation of the past. And that interpretation is killing your future. You've become an archaeologist of your own pain, haven't you? Digging up bones that should have been left buried, examining them from every angle, building entire museums dedicated to your mistakes, your hurts, your regrets. And you visit these museums daily, sometimes hourly. You've become the most devoted curator of a collection that's destroying you. I want you to understand something crucial. Every moment you spend in your past is a moment stolen from your present. Every ounce of energy you pour into what was is energy you can't invest in what could be. You're literally bankrupting your future to pay debts that have already been settled. As I often say, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. But you're not looking at your past. You're living in it. You're not observing it from a place of wisdom. You're drowning in it from a place of pain. Let me tell you what's really happening in your brain when you can't let go. Your mind doesn't know the difference between a vividly imagined memory and reality. When you replay that painful moment, your body produces the same stress hormones it did when it actually happened. Your nervous system goes into the same fight or flight response. You're not just remembering trauma, you're re-traumatizing yourself. Daily, sometimes hourly, you're addicted to your past. Yes, addicted. Just like any other addiction, it gives you a hit of familiar chemicals. Even if those chemicals are cortisol and adrenaline, even if they're slowly destroying your health, your relationships, your potential, at least they're familiar. At least you know what to expect. The devil you know, right? I want you to pause right now and notice your body. Are your shoulders tense? Is your breathing shallow? That's your past living in your present. That's yesterday stealing from today. That's who you were, preventing who you could become. Let me share something with you about Maria. She came to see me carrying 20 years of resentment toward her mother. Every conversation we had somehow circled back to her childhood, to what her mother did or didn't do, to how those wounds shaped her. She was 45 years old, but she was still living as a wounded child. Her past wasn't just influencing her present, it was dictating it. I asked her one question: how many years of your future are you willing to sacrifice to a past that's already over? She couldn't answer, because she'd never thought of it that way. She'd never realized that every day she spent as a victim of her history was a day she couldn't spend as the author of her destiny. Right now, I want you to think about your own past. What story are you telling yourself about who you are based on what happened to you? Maybe you're telling yourself you're unlovable because someone left. Maybe you're telling yourself you're a failure because something didn't work out. Maybe you're telling yourself you're damaged because of what you've been through. But here's the truth that might shake you. You are not your past. You are not what happened to you. You are not your mistakes, your traumas, your failures, or even your successes. You are the consciousness that's aware of all these things. You are the one who gets to decide what they mean. In The Power of Intention, I wrote about how we're all connected to an infinite source of creativity and possibility. But you can't access that infinite potential when you're locked in the finite prison of your past. You can't create a new future when you're constantly recreating old patterns. Your past is like a movie you've watched. It might have been tragic or beautiful or boring or thrilling, but it's over. The credits have rolled. The theater lights have come up. But you're still sitting there, demanding they play it again and again and again. Meanwhile, life is happening outside the theater. Opportunities are passing by. Love is looking for you. Joy is waiting for you. But you're too busy watching reruns to notice. I know what you're thinking right now, but you don't understand what happened to me. You don't know how badly I was hurt. You don't know what I lost. And you're right. I don't know your specific pain, but I know this: holding on to it isn't healing it. Reliving it isn't resolving it. Analyzing it for the 1,000th time isn't going to change it. What happened to you is part of your story, but it doesn't have to be your identity. You experience trauma, but you don't have to be traumatized forever. You made mistakes, but you don't have to be a mistake. You failed at something, but you don't have to be a failure. I want you to understand the most dangerous thing about living in your past: it makes you recreate it. When you believe you're the person who gets abandoned, you act in ways that push people away. When you believe you're the person who fails, you sabotage your own success. When you believe you're damaged, you attract people who treat you like you're damaged. You're not just remembering your past, you're prophesying your future. Right now, your body is responding to these words. Part of you is resisting, coming up with arguments about why your situation is different, why you can't let go, why your past matters more than... I understand. That resistance, that's your addiction talking. That's the part of you that's terrified of who you might be without your familiar pain. Because here's what's really scary. If you're not your past, if you're not your wounds, if you're not your story of limitation and loss, then who are you? If you let go of the identity you've built around what happened to you, what's left? I'll tell you what's left. Infinite possibility. Pure potential. The freedom to become whoever you choose to be, starting right now. the power to write a new story, to create a new identity, to build a life that has nothing to do with what came before. As I wrote in Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, the ancient wisdom of the Tao teaches us that holding on to anything too tightly causes suffering. You're gripping your past so tightly that your hands are bleeding and you can't grab hold of your future. But this requires something from you that might feel impossible. It requires you to accept that your past is none of your business anymore. It requires you to stop trying to fix what's already broken, to stop trying to win arguments that ended years ago, to stop trying to get apologies from people who may never give them. Your past is none of your business anymore. Let that sink in. The person you were, the things that happened, the pain you experienced, they're not your business anymore. Your business is this moment. Your business is who you're becoming. Your business is the choice you're making right now. I want you to try something with me. Take a deep breath. Feel the air entering your lungs. Feel your chest expanding. This breath, this moment, is the only thing that's real. The past you're obsessing over, it's a phantom. It has no power except what you give it. And you've been giving it everything, haven't you? You've been paying rent to ghosts. You've been feeding demons that should have starved long ago. You've been watering dead plants, expecting them to bloom. You've been having conversations with people who aren't even in your life anymore, winning arguments in your head, saying what you wish you'd said, doing what you wish you'd done. But what if you stopped? What if, just for today, you decided that your past is none of your business? What if you took all that energy you've been pouring into what was and invested it in what is? I need you to hear this. You're stronger than you think you are. You survived whatever happened to you. You're here, listening to these words, which means you're still fighting, still hoping, still believing that something better is possible. That's not weakness. That's incredible strength. But you're using that strength to carry weight that isn't yours to carry anymore. You're using that power to keep yourself imprisoned in a story that ended long ago. You're so busy being a historian of your own life that you've forgotten to be the architect of your future. Let me be clear about something. Letting go of your past doesn't mean pretending it didn't happen. It doesn't mean bypassing your pain or denying your experiences. It means accepting that it happened, learning what you needed to learn, and then closing that chapter. It means saying, this was part of my journey, but it's not my destination. I want you to really think about this. How much energy do you spend on your past every day? The mental rehearsals, the emotional processing, the physical tension of carrying all that weight. What could you create with that energy instead? What could you build? What could you become? You're at a crossroads right now. You can continue to be the curator of your pain, the archaeologist of your wounds, the historian of your limitations. Or you can become the artist of your future, the architect of your dreams, the author of a story that hasn't been written yet. But you can't do both. You can't drive forward while staring in the rearview mirror. You can't build a future while living in the past. You can't become who you're meant to be while insisting on remaining who you were. The highest form of ignorance, I've often said, is when you reject something you don't know anything about. And right now you're rejecting a future you can't imagine because you're too attached to a past you can't change. Your past is like a university you attended. You learned lessons there. Some were beautiful, some were brutal. But graduation day has come and gone. You can't live in the dormitory forever. You can't keep attending the same classes. It's time to take what you learned and move into the world. I know you're scared. I know that pain is familiar, and familiarity feels safe, even when it's destroying you. I know that letting go feels like betraying yourself, like saying what happened to you doesn't matter. But that's not what letting go means. Letting go means loving yourself enough to stop punishing yourself for things that weren't your fault. It means respecting yourself enough to stop defining yourself by your worst moments. It means believing in yourself enough to know that you're more than what happened to you. Every morning, you wake up with a choice. You can wake up as the person who was hurt, who failed, who lost, or you can wake up as the person who survived, who learned, who's ready to create something new. The past will always be there, like a book on a shelf. But you don't have to read it every day. You don't have to memorize every painful page. I want you to really hear this. Your past is none of your business anymore, because your business is living. Your business is growing. Your business is becoming. Your business is taking all that wisdom, all that strength you gained from surviving what you survived, and using it to build something beautiful. What would you do today if you weren't carrying the weight of yesterday? Who would you talk to? What would you try? What dreams would you pursue? What love would you accept? What joy would you allow yourself to feel? You've been so loyal to your pain, you've been such a faithful guardian of your wounds, but what if you became that loyal to your healing? What if you became that faithful to your growth? What if you protected your peace as fiercely as you've protected your pain? In Excuses Be Gone, I wrote about how we use our past as an excuse to avoid our potential. You're doing that right now. You're using what happened to you as a reason for why you can't move forward. But that excuse has expired. That story has run its course. The universe is constantly creating, constantly moving forward, constantly evolving. You're part of that universe. You're meant to create, to move forward, to evolve. But you can't evolve when you're frozen in time. You can't create when you're constantly recreating the same old patterns. Your past was a teacher, not a life sentence. It was a chapter, not the whole book. It was a season, not your permanent climate. And seasons are meant to change. That's the natural order of things. Holding on to your past is like trying to keep autumn leaves on trees in spring. It's not just futile, it's preventing new growth. Right now, in this moment, you have power. Not power over what happened, but power over what happens next. Not power to change your past, but power to change what your past means. Not power to erase your scars, but power to decide whether they're wounds or wisdom. I want you to imagine something with me. Close your eyes if you can. Imagine you wake up tomorrow with no memory of your past pain. You remember the lessons, but not the hurt. You remember the growth, but not the grief. You remember who you've become, but not what you had to overcome. How would you live that day? Who would you be? That's who you really are. That's who you can choose to be starting right now. Not someone without a past, but someone who isn't controlled by it. Not someone who hasn't been hurt, but someone who isn't defined by hurt. Not someone who hasn't failed, but someone who isn't limited by failure. How people treat you is their karma. How you react is yours. I've said this countless times, and it applies to your past too. What happened to you was part of your journey, but how you respond to it now, how you choose to carry it or release it, that's your karma. That's your choice. That's your power. Your past is none of your business anymore. Your business is this breath, this moment, this choice. Your business is the love you can give today, not the love you didn't receive yesterday. Your business is the dreams you can pursue now, not the dreams that didn't come true then. I need you to understand something. You're not letting go of your past because it doesn't matter. You're letting go because you matter more. You're not forgetting what shaped you. You're refusing to let it define you. You're refusing to let it define you. You're not denying your story. You're deciding to write a new chapter. The past you've been carrying isn't your cross to bear. It's your wings to spread. Everything you've survived has given you strength. Everything you've overcome has given you wisdom. Everything you've lost has made room for something new. But you can't receive the new while your hands are full of the old. So I'm asking you to put it down. All of it, the regret, the resentment, the rehearsals of pain. Put down the story of who you were and pick up the pen to write who you're becoming. Your past is none of your business anymore. Your business is living. Your business is growing. Your business is the magnificent future that's waiting for you to stop looking back and start moving forward. As you sit here right now, you're at the most important moment of your life. Not because of what I'm saying, but because of what you're deciding. You're deciding whether to keep being a prisoner of your past or to become a pioneer of your future. You're deciding whether to keep rehearsing old pain or to start creating new joy. The door to your past is closing, not because you're forgetting, but because you're graduating. Not because it didn't matter, but because what matters now is what comes next. And what comes next is entirely up to you. When you dance, as the Sufi poet Rumi wrote, your purpose is not to get to a certain place on the floor. It's to enjoy each step along the way. You've been trying to dance your way back to a moment that's gone. It's time to dance forward into the life that's waiting for you. Your past is none of your business anymore. Let go. Move on. Your life, your real life, the one you're meant to live, is waiting for you on the other side of that release. The choice is yours. The moment is now. The past is over. Your future begins with your next breath. Let go. You're ready. You've always been ready. You just needed someone to remind you that your past is none of your business anymore. Your business is living. Start now.